For years, we believed that the horrors of Playtime Co. were limited to experiments on toys, that the factory's dark past was contained within the monstrous forms of Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and the other failed creations. But Chapter 4 revealed something far more disturbing. The orphans of Playtime Co. are still alive. The prototype has been secretly keeping them deep underground. But why? What purpose do they serve? Why did the prototype choose to save them while every adult was slaughtered during the hour of joy? Today, we're going to uncover the darkest truth about the prototype's experiments on the orphans, analyze every hidden clue from the game, and explain what this means for Chapter 5. If these theories are correct, then the prototype isn't just another monster. He's preparing something far worse. Poppy tells us that the children were not killed, but instead were taken into the underground labs. This is one of the most terrifying details we've learned so far. But why would the prototype do this? There are 3 chilling possibilities. He needs them for new experiments. Playtime Co. was always about experimenting on children, and the prototype might be continuing this work for his own purposes. He's creating new experiments. The prototype might be trying to merge humans and toys, using the orphans as raw material. He's using them for his own survival. Some theories suggest he feeds on the orphans, or uses them as a way to repair his body. But here's the most disturbing question. Why now? If the prototype has had the orphans all this time, what is he waiting for? What is he preparing them for? There is a possibility that the prototype sees them as more than test subjects. Perhaps they are his final pieces in a much larger plan. One that involves reshaping Playtime Co. into something far worse than before. To fully understand this, we need to dive deeper into the hidden messages found within Playtime Co.'s history and the various cryptic clues scattered throughout Chapter 4. The orphans might not just be prisoners of the prototype, they might be the key to his final transformation. If we look at the history of Playtime Co., every experiment they conducted revolved around merging organic and synthetic life. The toys were never just meant to be playthings. They were created as vessels for something more profound. The orphans, as living humans, might be the missing link. The prototype needs to finally complete the process that Ludwig started long ago. One of the most disturbing hints about what the prototype is planning comes from a hidden VHS tape in Chapter 4. In the recording, we hear a conversation between Dr. Harley Sawyer and the prototype. Harley says, "What's a dozen children, 1,000 next to this? What would they have been otherwise? I made their lives matter." This completely changes everything we thought we knew. First, Harley is defending the experiments on the orphans. He's saying that without these experiments, the children wouldn't have mattered. This suggests that the prototype and Harley have been working together to turn these orphans into something new. Second, Harley mentions that time is running out. What does that mean? What are they running out of time for? Could it be that the prototype is preparing for his final transformation? It's also possible that the prototype is using the orphans as vessels for something greater. The Playtime Comer's experiments weren't just about creating living toys. They were about extending life itself. What if the prototype is trying to complete what Elliot Ludwig started? There are also blueprints hidden in the Chapter 4 secret rooms that hint at something called the Omega Experiment, a project that was never completed but involved a fusion of organic and mechanical life. If the prototype has been collecting parts and absorbing intelligence from other failed experiments, could he be planning to merge with the orphans to become the final evolution of Playtime Co.'s vision? If we consider the existence of this Omega experiment, it might explain why the prototype has been harvesting so many other failed creations. Each experiment has been a stepping stone towards something greater. Could the prototype be aiming to transcend even the limitations of Playtime Co. and his earlier work? The company's experiments were incomplete, and Ludwig's death left many projects unfinished. The prototype, through his intelligence and ability to adapt, may now be in the final stages of achieving the company's long-abandoned goal. Another clue that supports this theory is the way the prototype interacts with other creatures in the facility. Instead of simply killing or discarding them, he recycles their bodies, reconfiguring them into something else. This suggests that he is more than just a mindless machine. He is methodically constructing something bigger than himself. If the prototype truly believes that he is continuing Ludwig's vision, then his experiments may not stop at just the orphans. What if he intends to remake Playtime Co. entirely, transforming every living thing inside into a part of his new world? This idea brings us to an even more terrifying possibility.
What if we, the player, are meant to be his final subject?
There's a major theory that the prototype isn't just collecting toys and bodies, he's trying to create the perfect form for himself. Think about it, he steals the bodies of other experiments like Mommy Longlegs and Huggy Wuggy. He keeps the orphans alive, possibly as a backup plan for his own survival. He works with Harley Sawyer, who was obsessed with creating the perfect experiment. Some theories suggest that the prototype wants to transfer his consciousness into a new body, one that is a fusion of human and toy parts. And if that's true, then the prototype isn't just a monster, he's something much worse. His ability to absorb and take control of other experiments suggests that he isn't just a creature, he's evolving. Each toy he takes, each orphan he uses, might be fueling his final form. What will he become when he reaches the final phase of his transformation? Could Chapter 5 reveal the ultimate horror? That the prototype is no longer just a single entity, but an entire network of consciousness spread across every toy and experiment in Playtime Co.? If that is the case, then stopping him might not be as simple as just destroying his core body. We may have to shut down the entire facility, erasing every trace of Playtime Co.'s work before it is too late. If the prototype has been experimenting on the orphans, then what happens when we find them in Chapter 5? There are 3 terrifying possibilities. The orphans are no longer human. The prototype has already begun fusing them with toys, meaning that when we finally find them, they might already be lost. We have to make a choice. What if we're forced to decide, save the remaining orphans or stop the prototype? The prototype's last stand. If the prototype is planning to use the orphans for his final experiment, then Chapter 5 may end with a battle between us, the prototype, and his new creations. If we fail, then the orphans might never escape the nightmare of Playtime Co. If Playtime Co.'s legacy is one of horror, then the prototype might be the final chapter of that nightmare. He is the embodiment of everything the company was trying to achieve, but he has no limits, no morality, no constraints. In Chapter 5, we will finally see his ultimate plan unfold. The only question is, can we stop it?